Hyperbolic or not, welcome to post-disclosure. While we will not be defining hyperbolic because there is an illiteracy crisis in America, please go find the nearest thesaurus, Google, whatever it may be. I do want to start by defining PDC, the term that got us the name of this podcast. But before that, hi, I'm Saharla.
And I'm Isabella.
And welcome to Post-Disclosure.
We're very excited to have you.
So I want to talk about PDC, aka Post-Disclosure Clarity, which I have defined as the regret, anxiety, clarity, and dissatisfaction one feels after disclosing something they in hindsight feel they shouldn't have. We've all had it. I don't know what came over me that somewhere in DC had come up with the term, but we've all been there. You say something or you tell somebody something and you're like, why did I?
And it's almost immediate.
It's almost immediate.
As soon as there's a bit of quiet in the room, you're overwhelmed with the thought of, why the fuck did I say that?
Yeah. We have PDC quite often. I'll literally text Bella and be like, PDC.
Very often.
But I kind of want to set the stage of what this podcast, the vibe we're going to be giving. I know you read the description and we're like, oh, okay, whatever that means. Also, I apologize. I talk very fast. If you like it, I love it. If you hate it, I still do. So to put it plainly, we are going to be talking about our real life thoughts, things that we actually believe. And we're not going to pretend to be one of those, as I call them, holier than thou insufferables. We'll get into those people later. But not every thought that we have is going to be politically correct or nice. We're kind people, loving girls. That's about it.
Right. And post-disclosure for me, I feel very similarly to her in the fact that, I feel like sometimes post-disclosure podcast is a way to get over my post-disclosure clarity. I would like to feel really confident with the things I say and the discussions that I have with people. And if that's how you felt, then you should be able to say it within reason.
I agree, but to me, it's also a way of kind of reclaiming the right to be kind of a bitch and insufferable. I think that when you're somebody who has very left-leaning politics, you end up in a circle jerk of people who just want to be, I don't even know what we're all striving for, but I'm clocking out. I am not a leftist. I'm not a part of you people. I'm just a girl with opinions and some values. And I feel like post-disclosure is a personification of that. And I want to make it clear that the real reason we named this episode Hyperbolic or Not is that's kind of what a lot of this podcast is going to be. You won't really know if we're joking or we're being serious. And that's kind of the intention. If you think we're being serious, then I guess we're being serious. And if you think we're joking, then we're joking. The plausible deniability, I think, has a certain flirtatious charm.
And, I will also say sometimes I don't even know when I'm joking. And sometimes when you get caught in the moment and you're having a conversation, you're developing your thoughts right then and there. And I think this is such a great way to explore that and evolve with your perspectives on things. I'm really excited.
So enough about all of that intro stuff. Let's go through some things that we may or may not be joking about. Okay. When I say that Bella is the only person I tell certain things, I am in fact not joking. And it's not because I don't love and adore other people in my life. It's because I can say things to her that are so messed up and we just leave it where it is. Like, I don't have to then be like, but I don't mean it that way. Because I kind of did. I wanted you to feel, I did mean it that way. You know what I mean? It's like the love I have for a sibling.
Mm-hmm. I think also with our relationship, there's so much, as they say, lore built up that I have a really good understanding of when you're joking or not. And I also have a really good understanding of who you are as a person. So when you say certain things to me, you don't have to give me a 10-minute, and it's because of this, and I actually feel this way, and that I don't, this and that. It's really not even necessary at this point. So it makes our conversations flow so easily. And it's really, 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 really refreshing to be able to talk to somebody that not only understands me, but understands that I'm a human being and have nuance.
Speaking of disclaimers in conversation, because rarely do I disclaim anything to Bella. Bella still does disclaim. We're going to get into that later, but she will still be like, well, I've never said this and I've never felt this way about them, but I'm like, girl, or I'm not a bad person, I don't hate insert demographic. I'm like,
Oh, please. Oh, God. Canceled episode 1.
canceled episode 1. But, I think that even like within that hyperbole, um, certain demographics are a bit more insufferable than others.
And you know what? I wanna rebuttal and I wanna argue about that, but maybe that's what you mean. I'm just a bit more, okay, let's be a bit softer. And you're just like, this is how I feel. And I enjoy that about you, but I think you're right. I can't even argue with you because I'm doing it right now.
That's what I mean. Like I say what that with love. Those insufferable demographics, some of my best friends are a part of those groups. But if we weren't lying about certain demographics being insufferable, we could have an honest conversation about how some of you get on my last nerve. And the thing is, I'm a part of those insufferable demographics as well. Like someone could argue that I'm a part of the group that needs to, take a seat. Will I? Absolutely not. But you're entitled to your opinion, I guess.
I'm already thinking up like a notes app apology. We're gonna, this is gonna be, this is, yeah,
My thing is, we didn't name anybody, so we don't have to do no typology.
that's fair. And I also want to say demographics, I also want to redefine it or add on to that definition that there's certain traits that, like you said, even we have that are very insufferable when they're put together and quite obnoxious and just intolerable to be around over extended periods of time.
Agreed. And I also think that maybe we should explore the idea of having a preemptive no typology to just insert group. We could have a couple little, parentheses, insert group, just to get ahead of it in case anything does happen later on. Because right now we are not talking about anything pop culture, but trust and believe the moment we do, baby, it's going to get messy.
I love talking about hot topics and I really enjoy talking about the things that are going on and getting other people's perspectives. I really enjoy learning. I like not shifting my opinions because I have a very strong moral foundation on what I think is right and what I think is wrong or what can change. But it's just so interesting and kind of messy to hear how other people think because you could be having a conversation with somebody that you've known for so long and a random article completely changes the way you see them.
Yeah.
Who even are you?
On that note, let's talk about a pop culture topic that just got a podcaster canceled low-key. But have you heard about, mind you guys, Bella is not on social media. So she lives in her own
I'm
world.
chronically offline, I'm sorry.
Her own world away from the rest of us. I have to keep her updated. But Cardi B is pregnant with Stefan Diggs' child. Do you know about this?
I do. I think I've saw a few videos of her in court, and that's how I know about it. Tyra also keeps me in on the loop. I don't know. Am I allowed to say names?
If you want to.
Yeah. No, she keeps me in on the loop, and she always tells me you live under a rock, and it's unacceptable. But no, I have. But please do continue.
So what do we think? I think there's a lot of drama or a lot of opinion surrounding the fact that she's having a child out of quote-unquote wedlock with her current boyfriend, while I think she's still legally married, or like she's separated, but she might still be legally married to Offset. My issue isn't even all of those things. It's just kind of like, you just met this nigga. Like, do we not learn our lessons about having children with men? Not that we can have children with anybody else, but I don't understand how we have not learned the lesson of like, this nigga said, "You're my baby mother, I won." And in that moment, if I were her, not only would I have divorced his ass, I would have never been impregnated by another man. Ever. Which is why I love UK Thanos, because I don't know if it was her fling or her boyfriend, but he texted her, or he like referred back to Offset saying, "You're my baby mother, I won," because she was a couple of weeks pregnant. And her next video was her at the abortion clinic. And that, I love that, because I would have done the same shit. Oh, you're my baby mother, I won. What baby?
I think also for somebody to say that to you when you are pregnant, that is really heinous and like evil to say to somebody. Like, I've got you. It makes me think that you are a villain and I have not seen the worst of what's to come yet.
I don't want to.
You're going to torment me. But back to the Cardi B. One, I love Cardi B. I think that she's phenomenal.
Your Dominican sister. Of course you love her.
Yeah, she is. I do love. I do love her. I think she's a really good example of what authenticity looks like in the music industry. There are very few people who are able to be themselves throughout this many years in her career, or as they say, quote unquote, PR trained. She has never really changed. I really enjoy that about her. But to answer kind of what you were talking about with Stephon Diggs, I don't know that man. I don't. I really don't. I do. Am I going to have kids? No. But, and then it's also complicated because you could argue, she has the means and she has the support and she has, the financial means to be able to take care of a large family, and it's her business, and she left that toxic marriage. I don't know. I can't speak on that because I don't know her. But what I will say is I don't think that it's valid to say that it's inappropriate for her to be dating. I think it's extremely audacious for anybody to criticize her for moving on generally, and not related to the pregnancy, moving on and generally when she's not officially legally separated, when he had moved on with only God knows how many people while they were still in that marriage.
I don't think most people are critiquing the fact that she moved on and started dating Stefan. Like, I supported. I was like, you go, girl. Having a kid with him, yeah, I'm so sorry. I can't get behind that. And honestly, I've never really cared for Cardi B. I've never deeply disliked her or liked her. I don't find her music to be that good. I think that she has done irreparable damage to female rap by blatantly admitting she had ghost rappers, and kind of being proud of that fact. I just think that Cardi B has pushed females in rap, as they say. Let's not get into females versus women.
Oh, females,
but
God.
Females in rap, she has pushed them back, I think, in a way that can never be undone. But beyond that, Cardi B to me is the personification of doing whatever the fuck you want to do. Damn everybody else. And in some ways it is admirable when it comes to societal expectations about what one is supposed to be like once they cross into that threshold of A-lister. But at the same time, to me, it's indicative of like, you also don't care about the consequences of your action, because I'm of the camp that money is not the only thing that children need. Like, yes, your child will be fine and well off and etc. But at the end of the day, like, now what? You've created possibly, let me not wish bad on her, I guess, but possibly 2 broken homes. Or, I mean, like, 2 groups of children of broken homes. Like, I don't even know what's going on. I can't even keep up, honestly. Why'd I bring it up? I can't keep up. I only brought it up because I know that she's beefing Nicki right now, but I'm with you on being underneath the rock because I actually don't even know what the fuck is going on.
I don't know much about that situation. But I will say also the definition of an artist is quite subjective. I think you said she admitted to having ghostwriters?
More or less, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I think with her admitting it and her saying, I have help with my writing, could you still not say that she's still an artist, but she's just more of a performer than she is a creator? Because there's lots of different jobs in the industry where you write music or you produce music or you perform music. Some people, you could even argue, are not even particularly vocally talented, but they have an amazing stage presence and dance a lot.
Yeah, they're performers.
Yeah.
Cardi B's a performer. I think that an inherent part of being a rapper is the rhythm and poetry, is you writing the poetry part.
Right.
And if you're not writing your raps, I think that you're not a rapper. You're something else, maybe, but
I would still consider her to be an artist and a performer, though. I think rapper, like you said, maybe is a bit more strict. I think even culturally and historically, being able to tell a story and putting your own words into your music is quite literally the whole point. Like you were saying. But I still find her admirable because it's not something that she's hiding. She's still quite good at what she does when it comes to performing, and has stayed culturally relevant for only God knows how many years. And I would also say that it's admirable that she was able to do so in a time period where it's really not easy to do so if you're not, what's the word? You know what I'm talking about? An industry plant. Like, she really, she's been around for a long time.
This is where we really disagree.
I
don't think there's anything to admire about Cardi B, honestly.
Damn.
And I also do think she's an industry plant. Like, that is the one thing we gotta give to Nicki. The girl is an industry plant. You know what I mean? And she's not an artist, right? I'm sorry. She's written a couple of songs.
You said Nicki?
That's the one thing I have to give to Nicki.
Okay.
Is that Cardi B's an industry plant. And she's not an artist. I'm sorry. For you to be an artist, you have to be doing something with art. And she's written a couple of raps. You can tell which one she's written, and they're not good. So, I mean, I guess you're a shitty artist at best. But I wouldn't even say all that. You're a performer. You're a successful industry plant. But the word admirable brought me back to a young man who was in my phone.
Oh, Lord.
And guys, I text a lot with M dashes. I'll be like, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, I know what this
dash,
is about.
dash, blah, 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 dash, dash.
I'm bringing up the matcha thing after you're done.
Okay.
Because it's fresh on my mind.
That's literally just how I text. Blah, 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 dash, dash. This man calls me. Mind you, this is like maybe 15 minutes of conversation outside of the app. He's like, so are you using ChatGPT to speak to me? Why the fuck would I use ChatGPT
For a 3-word response?
on a man I met 15 minutes ago? Forget a 3-word response. I don't know you. Why am I putting that much effort into our fucking conversation? I'm like, no. And he's like, so you be using words like that? The biggest word I used was admirable. And I'll never forget that.
This is really full circle. Cardi B to... I don't even know this man's name. I know you told me about it, but I don't even know his
I
name.
think his name is like... Oh my god, I'll find his name right now.
But, okay, so I
I'll
will
tell you
say,
later.
I think we at least agree that Cardi B is a performer.
I have never seen one of her performances, so
Mhm.
I can't agree or disagree.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to come back to you on that one.
Okay.
But you were talking about matcha?
Oh, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. We could also another time get into how dating, it's really not even dating anymore. There's a lack of courtship. There's a lack of intellectualism. There's a lack of empathy. And I think there is a high level of dehumanization. A lot of people are communicating with people, specifically a lot of men are communicating with women as if you're not a real human being. We could get into how society and social media and everything else has, fried everybody's brain. But I also feel like as an adult, as a person, as somebody who has the complete ability to learn and grow, you should not be communicating with people in such a fashion, especially when there's an app and it very clearly says that you have no interest. Actually, we can go as far as to say it. If you want to participate in hookup culture, that's completely fine. And if you both say you're looking for short-term fun, whatever that means, go ahead and do that. Whatever's fun and fresh for you, you should do that. And sometimes maybe you're not into short-term fun, but one night you are and you do it. I still don't think that it's appropriate for you to start your first message ever interacting with a human being saying, I want to do XYZ to you. Do you want to join in with XYZ so we can do this and do all, hi, hello, how are you?
No, the
You
men
would never
are...
walk up to somebody in public and say such things. Ever.
They
And
are-
if you do, you would be arrested promptly, instantaneously, as you should.
They might nowadays. But I honestly just think they don't understand the concept of scaring the hoes.
You're
You're scaring the hoes. Like, there has been ample opportunity of me being like, you know what, let's see where this goes. But it's your...
crassness.
Yes, you're so crass. It's distasteful. And you've completely not only just turned me off,
I'm scared.
I'm scared.
There's a lack of sexual discipline when you do that. And again, this is a whole other thing. I no longer feel comfortable meeting up with somebody who cannot hold a basic conversation without being very sexually forward and aggressive. How do I know that you're going to listen if I ever say no? You're incapable.
You're illiterate as well.
It's really uncomfortable, and it's okay. And I'm not saying that there's anything inherently wrong with you doing what you want to do with your body. Like I said, I have no issue with that at all. And it's not me. I don't care. It's not my body. And like I said, sometimes you want to.
This is a disclaimer.
ball out.
We're talking about, guys.
Okay. But it's like, I'm just saying, like, if you do want to do that, don't scare the hoes. And that goes both ways. What happened to seduction? What happened to conversation? What happened to, like, even if all of that happens in one night, can you not have a conversation?
I think it's a combination of things. I think living in America, but I think this is happening globally. There is more of a Puritan push, like definitely a right-wing push. And so I
Mhm.
think a lot of people are dealing with a lot of sexual shame. But I
Right.
also think they're dealing with shame around anything that is seen as kind of coming from the quote-unquote deadly sins, or that is seen as like pleasure-seeking in general. So I think that goes hand in hand with the shame people have about their diets and the foods they consume, the shame people have about wanting to have sex or wanting to pursue romantic intimacy just for
Mhm.
that sake. And I feel like that leads to not only a proliferation of the Madonna whore complex, but an inability to know how to go and seek that pleasure without not only overindulging, but without coming across as somebody that, I guess, personifies it.
Mhm. There's a really big issue with, and we've talked about this with, you know, oh my God.
Compartmentalizing.
Yes, compartmentalizing, where a lot of people, they can't see you as both. And I mean, again, this is for another time. There's no such thing as friends with benefits.
Oh, I disagree.
There's no such thing as friends with benefits. I will stand on that hill for 1,000 years, at least for the vast majority of people. I would say, like most things, of course, there's a small percentage of the time where something like that could work. But at least from what I've seen, the stats aren't looking great. Somebody's not happy. And ultimately, what is casual about that? And it's again, I'm not trying to villainize casual sex. I'm not saying that you can't be friends with somebody and have sex. I'm saying typically, because of a lot of the things that you mentioned, one party in that group is incapable at seeing you as a person and a real friend, and also being able to have sex with you casually.
That party is usually the man if this is a heterosexual dynamic, but I still do think it's possible. But I feel like that deserves its own separate episode
Right.
where we kind of go into the Madonna whore complex. We go into sex within Gen Z. We go into, I think, the impact that incel manosphere culture has had on both young men and women in the way that they approach intimacy.
Sprinkle in racism in there too,
Oh, yeah.
because that also, your experience with your relationships, especially sexual, can be very vastly different when you are considering the things that make you you, and your race is a big one of those things, unfortunately.
I feel like racial dynamics in dating and in intimacy, yeah, that deserves a whole book.
That's a whole nother thing. But I do want to say one more thing about friends with benefits,
Go ahead.
right? I don't think that is impossible. I know I said it's not a real thing. It's one of those things where it's much easier to avoid than to do, just because your chances of that being a dynamic where you really truly are friends and they're not afraid of being a real friend to you and showing up for you all the time is really slim. A lot of people get nervous if they feel like you're getting too close. And I've just seen it time and time again where it just doesn't seem to work out. So again, and that's, like I said, you're an adult, you're an individual, you can educate yourself, you can do what works best for you and your body. Have fun, use protection if you want, I guess. But no, I would say more for me, friends with benefits is not real. Do as you please, though.
I think it can be real, but like I said, I want to refer to that another day. I
Hmm.
feel like a big part of why, and I've said this before, there's a hard time with men seeing or existing in the gray is because men are socialized to kind of view emotional intimacy between the opposite sex or just in general. They view it as having a romantic undertone. So the moment that they're emotionally vulnerable with a woman, they must like them, or the woman must like them because she found a way to get that out of them, or whatever it may be.
Sneaking up on them.
Yes, I don't
Hmm.
know. So I think that that plays another role.
Hmm.
But I don't know, my views on casual sex in general are really colored by how I think that feminism and the idea of sexual liberation took off without addressing actual issues. Like,
Hmm.
yes, in theory, I would love for all of us to be having sex with whomever and
Hunching.
hunching with whoever we want. You know
And
what I
please,
mean?
like I said,
Whenever we want.
do as you please.
But I think that us jumping to that without addressing the lack of access to birth control, to abortion to
Healthcare in general.
healthcare in general,
Yeah.
family planning, just teaching kids about sex. Like, you just jump to that. And I think that it is really irresponsible to kind of create a society in which everyone um, engages in hookup culture from a young age. By young age, I just mean like college-ish, and doesn't really understand the full impact it can have on them
Right.
long term, especially now as we see in a lot of major cities like syphilis and chlamydia and gonorrhea and like
It's out there, y'all.
antibiotic resistant chlamydia and gonorrhea, which sounds horrid.
One of my fears is antibiotic resistance, not due to syphilis and chlamydia, but in general. Please take all of your antibiotics as prescribed by the doctor. That's all I have to say about that.
Climate change will make that worse, actually. But that's a story for another day, and my fears about modern medicine. I mean, honestly, I am allergic to... Should I be saying this?
No, absolutely
Oh.
not.
I'm allergic...
That's another thing. We're both kind of paranoid fucks. We are so, like, both... But no, I don't... No, actually, I take that back. Paranoid is not the word. We are cautious and paranoid. Yeah.
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 I am allergic to a major antibiotic, though, and I feel like even if I was going through it, please just shoot me up with that. I'll deal with the allergies. The one that I really fear is when they prescribe if everything else doesn't work, and it's called Cipro. That, I actually might just lie to my doctor and tell them I'm allergic, because people just go look up Cipro, like side effects, and what happens to people. Their lives are absolutely ruined after taking that 1 or 2, 3 days.
I think I know what you're referring to.
Yeah, it's just very terrifying. I would rather just take me out at that point, honestly. There's actually a lot of situations, and perhaps I should write this down. Just take me out. And I know it might suck to have murder on your conscience, but imagine how I feel.
Well, I mean, you won't feel if you're dead.
True. Praise the Lord.
Oh. Okay, and like I said, I love a good perspective. Well, actually, I'm lying. I don't always like hearing from people. I like hearing from you when it's time to have a conversation and it's time to be intellectuals and conversate. But this is one of those times, so go ahead and drop a comment. What do you think about medicine? Do you believe in science? Do antibiotics work? Do you take Tylenol?
Every time I hear...
Are you pregnant? Are you taking Tylenol during your pregnancy?
Every time I hear conversate, I think of that. I forget where this came from. It was like, it's not conversate, it's converse. And it's one of those things that gets stuck in your head when somebody just says something unnecessarily, but it never leaves your brain. And right now, I'm a victim to that. Speaking of... Actually, no. Let's not speak about victims. We stand with all victims, actually. All of the victims around the world. You're not gonna say it?
I thought we were doing a moment of silence.
Oh.
But no, yes, I agree with you. I was going to elaborate, but I would say that would be a whole episode in itself about how we as people navigate tragedies around the world. And that way we could also talk about Sudan.
I agree. I think
this is a huge issue all over the place.
It's something that you and I talked about in high school as well. I vividly remember this, but it's about compassion deficits and how when you're exposed to so much horror, you almost... I'm not saying that no one feels bad about what's happening in the world. I mean, obviously I feel horrible, but it's about the capacity to feel. When you're inundated with so much imagery and so much information, I don't think that we were ever meant to consume that much. And I think it creates a system in which you don't become numb, but you develop an ability to tune things out. Look at school shootings. Like, the country would stop 15 years ago if a school full of elementary kids was shot up. And right now it just happened in Minnesota, and they moved on within 36 hours.
Which is extremely unfortunate. There's a lot of atrocities happening all over the world. One of them being in the Congo as well.
Yeah. Don't buy a new iPhone.
That's another thing. I actually wrote a paper on something similar to that, but it was more related to fast fashion, on how, there's a lot of things where we're saying, oh, we wouldn't do this, we won't do that. And again, this all ties back into cancel culture. I think that's such an interesting topic of discussion. You do what you can where you can, but are you really doing what you can where you can?
I know I'm not, honestly.
And I'm not either. I think there's a lot more that I could be doing personally. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you should and shouldn't be doing when there's more I could do myself. Obviously, a part of advocacy, because nobody's perfect, is spreading the word and at least bringing it up. But I most definitely could shop less and buy less plastics and consume less in in multiple ways. It's almost humiliating, especially when you have access to certain resources to not consume in such a way, but you still do.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a, what do they call it?
Catch 22.
I was gonna say like,
Oh.
yeah,
I I think I kind of just want to end it there, actually. We went over like 5 different things.
15,000 different topics.
None of them well. I'm sorry. This is our first time doing this.
It is.
But
And
that is a small taste of, I guess, our thoughts.
our thoughts, post disclosure.